Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to Keeping It Tidbits. It's me, Mary, and I am here today with a very special word on the street for you guys. There has been drama for the past week, starting last weekend, featuring Mikey. Hi, Mikey. Thank you for
Hey,
joining me. And of course, he's here to clear it all up because there has been lots of accusations thrown around and stuff like that. And he's here so I can yell at him. Okay, because this has happened once before.
I
Okay,
know. You told me. You
yeah.
told me.
So we're gonna start off with that. This happened before last year. Refresh the viewers' memory of what happened, the argument, and all that stuff last year.
Okay, so last year, me and Chelsea was about to start filming on the new show, The Life After Lockup. She had been approached by the producers, and they told her that they was going to be running the story where she had cheated on me, and she threw a fit. She was absolutely upset about it. So, in order to make me look bad, she got with one of her friends and took some messages that I had messaged with this person and cherry picked little pieces of it and made it look like I was hitting on them. And this person is a female, but she likes men and she dresses like men. So, she sends that into the producers and it caused this big ordeal, right? So, for days leading up to the filming, we was on edge over all this stuff. And I had spent all my money, which was like close to 4 grand, fixing her house up, getting ready for the cameras. And her and her friend Shantae, they kept running off and just leaving. And one night they was gone all night. 2 a.m. I found them. They was camping out over at the lake over here, which is like 2 blocks from our house. And I found them by using Snapchat location, right? So I pull over there, and she's got a tent set up, and there's other people camping there. I don't know if they're associated with them or not, but I was upset, So I made sure they seen that I was there, and I spun a little gravel, and I took off, and I went home. I woke up next morning, Chelsea kissing on me, and she's like, "Sorry, babe." She's like, "I was just stressed out, and needed to get away." She's like, "Let's get this painting and everything done," because we had started painting and only made it like halfway through the kitchen, and our living room needed done. So I got up and she said, "Well, Shantae's going to help us too." So I pull out this paint. And I paid almost $500 for this big 5 gallon bucket of paint, and I pour all these pans. I pour 3 pans of paint, give everybody new rollers and everything. So we all start painting. About 10 minutes in, I go into the bedroom to take one of my Suboxones, and I'm sitting there, going through my bag to get it out. She walks in there. She said, "What are you doing?" She said, "Are you stopping?" I said, "No, I'm just going to take a Suboxone. I'm going to start back." She said, "Well, while you're doing that, we're going to run over here and check on this tent over here at the campgrounds to make sure her tent's okay." And I said, "Okay." I said, "That's fine." And then after I said that, I called her back in there and I said, "Just let her go. Me and you stay here and paint. And she was like, "Well, we're going to smoke while we're on there." And I was like, "All right, well, that's fine." But then I started to notice they was grabbing bags, like a lot more stuff than you would need just to go smoke.
Right.
So I didn't say anything. I let them leave. And about 2 hours later, I started messaging her and I was like, "Where are you at?" And she's like, "I'm not coming back. You got an attitude today." And I was like, "How do I have an attitude?" I was like, "I just spent 4 grand and I'm supposed to be starting filming in 2 days. I mean, yeah, I'm a little stressed out. That's if that's what you're picking up on, yeah, but I'm not being mean. I'm not being rude. I just want to get this shit done." And she
Right.
said, "Well, I'm not coming back because all you want to do is argue." And I said, "I don't want to argue." I said, "But if you want to argue, we can argue." And she said, "See, that's why I'm not coming back." And I said, "I'll tell you what." I said, "Well, I'll come over to the lake." So I went and got my car, drove to the lake. I walked down there. As soon as I got down there, she's sitting there like playing with the weed basket or whatever. Like she's got a little thing. And I said, "Come on, Chelsea." She's like wanting to look at me, and that's so rude for a deaf person to do that. That's like a hearing person covering her ears.
Yeah.
And I grabbed her weed box and I slung it straight into the water. When I threw that weed box in the water, dude, she changed. She instantly snapped. She jumped up in my face and was like pushing on me and screaming. And when a deaf person screams, it's like ungodly. Like it sounds like somebody dying.
Right.
So, this is a public lake. All these people are hearing this or whatever. Well, Shantae gets in between us, pushes us apart. And I told her, I was like, "I'm done. I'm leaving." So I went and got in my car and I went home. And about 45 minutes later, the cop shows up at the door and he said, "Are you Mr. Harmon?" And I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Turn around, put your hands behind your back." And I was like, "Why?" And he was like, "You're being arrested for domestic violence." And I said, for what? And he would not tell me anything. I didn't get any details till later on when I bonded out. But she had told the cops that I strangled her or choked her and ripped her necklace off of her. And that cop, if he had been paying attention, he would have realized I was lying because they told him I ripped the necklace off and threw it in the lake, but they showed him a broken necklace to take pictures of.
Right.
Their
Right.
story was off. And all that, we went to court back and forth for months, but I ended up getting messages from her. And what's crazy is she gave me those messages. Like, like I told her, I was like, I'm going to take these in. She's like, it's fine. And she's the one to give me the Shantae messages, right? And
And
I
I'll
take
put
them in.
those messages in the video for you guys to see what we're talking about.
Yeah, and then whenever we start falling out again, she starts messaging the prosecutor saying that I forced her to write those messages, and she just don't care. She's the type of person, she will send somebody to prison. I was a piece of property to her, and whenever she can't have me or she feels like she's losing me or something, she tries to manipulate what's going to happen with me in my life, and it don't hurt her a bit to just throw somebody and have them locked away for years, especially when they have kids and family members. It's not
Right.
right. But
So the last time we spoke, you were packed up, getting ready to move back to Kentucky. You and Chelsea were done. That's what you told me last year.
yep.
Happened.
So I went to Kentucky. I was down there for about 3 months. Well, it's almost 4 months. Let's say 4 months, 3.5 months. Right as soon as I left, Chelsea was like apologetic, saying she wanted, to make things right, and especially when she seen I got down there and there was females that was around me because I'm in my hometown area.
Right.
And so she started doing counseling and taking psych medication. And when I tell you this woman changed to the point to where I thought it was like God working on this woman. She was apologetic. She spotted her wrongs and her flaws and was able to correct them, and she was quick to be nice to somebody and buy them things. Like, she had never bought me anything the whole time we've been together, and she came and visited me, her and her son Trevor, and she bought me this, like, it's a big stuffed animal. It's huge. It's like a T-Rex or something. And then she got me like a little basket and put some Red Bulls and some candy that I liked in it. And I was blown away. I was like, who the hell is this person? But then we started falling out a little bit here and there, back and forth. And I ended up relapsing there on that last month in Kentucky on methamphetamine. And it's a drug that I'm not a fan of. But whenever you're in a town where there's no work and everybody, like, for me growing up, it was normal for me to wake up with my family, and instead of eating breakfast with my family like most people would, my mom's in there crushing up pills for it and cutting everybody lines out. Like, that was normal for me. So that's what kind of environment I grew up in. That's what kind of environment my hometown is. So whenever I relapsed, I knew, I was like, man, I got to get the fuck away from here. I
Right.
can't do this because if I stay down here, I'm going to end up fucked around.
Right.
And my kids, I was going to be getting them for the summer, so I thought, well, that'd be better anyways. Be able to have my kids in Ohio. There's things to do there in Richwood. The park, the swimming pool, the city pool. There's stuff to do. So I put all the plans into work to come to Ohio, and with my parole officer, I was about to serve out because I've been on Suboxone for 2 years, and for every 6 months you do a Suboxone treatment, you get 90 days off your sentence.
Okay.
So whenever my uh, whenever my PO told me this when I first got out of prison, I was like, yeah, let's sign me up. So 2 years of Suboxone treatment, I take the paperwork in, and this is going to completely serve me out. I'm going to be done, right? So I pack all my stuff up and I come to Ohio on the month that I'm supposed to serve out. And I get up here, my kids show up. I got all my stuff set up. It's everything I own set up in the house. And about 2 weeks after coming up here, I got a call from my PO. She said, I got some bad news. And I said, what? She said, we missed the deadline on that, turning that paperwork in. So you're not going to be serving out this month, but you only have like 4 or 5 months left.
Okay.
And that was disheartening to me. And it put me in a position because I'm in Ohio. I thought I was about to serve out any day. And now I'm going back to, having to report once a month. So instead of telling my PO and taking the risk of getting in trouble, I just kept it hush, and I would just drop down every month and see my PO. And Chelsea
You
held
would
that over
drive
my
down
head.
and see your PO in Kentucky.
Kentucky, yeah. Like,
Okay.
I'm actually headed to Kentucky tomorrow to see her.
Right. Okay.
And so Chelsea knew this, and it give her some seniority over me, and give her some leverage. And things started going really
So is
bad.
that the blackmail that you were talking about at one point on
Yes,
Facebook?
that is the
Okay.
blackmail. So my kids seen a change in me because my mental health was all screwed up. Right.
Right.
I started getting to where I was isolating really bad, and there on the end, I was trying to make Chelsea hate me because I wanted out of there. I got messages upon messages where I'm begging her to let me leave without trying to like get me locked up.
Right.
And
So let's rewind a little bit. So you saw the change in her. You saw
yeah,
that, she was
she was
taking,
doing great, really
right, she
good.
was
And then I get to
apologetic,
Ohio, and it's like a
accountability.
light switch. She's
So
right back
you
to the same
decided
person.
to move back in with her at that time?
Yeah,
Is that what happened? Okay, so you
yeah.
guys moved back in, and then did she stop taking her medication and stop going to therapy? Is that what happened?
Well, it was all a front. Her daughter told me that she hadn't been taking medication, so she was just putting a front on to get me back in Ohio.
Oh,
And that shows that's a level of narcissist to like whenever because I didn't know what narcissist was. I didn't know what a female covert narcissist was until I started like looking up. I would ask Google like, "Why is my girlfriend doing this?" And it started pulling
hmm
up all this narcissistic stuff,
hmm
and it blew my mind. She almost checked every single box. And don't get me wrong, I'm not sitting here just like saying she's a narcissist because I seen shit on there that I do too. You know what I'm saying? We all have flaws and we have things.
everybody has narcissistic traits,
Right.
but
But she
there's, yeah,
checks all the boxes, all
yeah,
of them, every freaking one of them, dude. And it's like, oh my god, like I'm living with a narcissist, and I'm a piece of property. I'm not a boyfriend. I'm a piece of property that gets controlled. And she had cameras in the house, and because whenever I left last time, it was my security system, but we went around together as a team and put the cameras up, right?
right.
And with whenever I moved out, she just like went and bought some cameras and put them in the same exact spots. Well, when I came back, I had a 360 camera, and she said, "Put that in our bedroom." And I said, "Okay." So we put it in the bedroom, and I started noticing like it was being moved and pointed at our bed, and I would move it to where it wasn't on our bed, but it would cover our room, you know.
Right.
And, she would message me, and she would say, "Why you keep moving the camera? I can't see you." And I would tell her, "Chelsea, it's not there to see me. It's there to watch our room and our property. That's what it's
Right.
there for. It's not there to watch me. So
Right.
stop doing that." And it made me feel uncomfortable. And like whenever I'd use the bathroom and stuff, I'd put a towel over the window and stuff because I just felt uncomfortable, you know, around her and everything. And honestly, I, I don't. It blows my mind at the things that I went through with her. And for her, it's just okay. It's normal to treat people like that and be controlling. And Chelsea's the type of person, instead of saying, "Hey, Mikey, do you want to hang out today?" she'll say, "What are you doing today?" And I'll be like, "Well, I don't know. I'm just, feeling like being lazy." And she'll be like, "Well, I'm going to my dad's." And I'd be like, "Okay." And she'd be like, "No, matter of fact, I might go see a friend down in Columbus. I might drive 2 hours to go see a friend." And what she's trying to do is manipulate me into saying, "Do you want to hang out? Why can't
Instead
you
of
just
just
ask me
saying,
that?"
let's hang out.
Right. Why can't you just ask me that? She's a manipulator. It's naturally in her blood to just for everything to manipulate her way into it instead of just asking or being direct. She's passive aggressive is what she is.
Right.
And it's scary because you don't know if that woman's going to wake up one day and, be completely fine or wake up and be ready to go balls to the wall. And one thing that made me sad while I was staying there is her kids every morning that I get to see them before they see their mother, they always ask me, "Is mom in a good mood? Is mom in a good mood?" And that's sad. And
That is sad.
yeah,
That is really sad.
it is. And
So
dealing with Chelsea is tricky. You got to walk on eggshells with her. And just whenever these last, couple months I was being held captive, I was writing friends, family, the people that I'm staying with now. I'd actually had my truck packed up twice, and one of the times I thought she was going to let me leave. But right last minute, she's like, "Go ahead and leave and see what happens. Go ahead and leave and see what happens." And I'm like, "Dude, you're holding me fucking hostage. What are you doing? Like, you can't do that." And
so
it made me not love her at all. And I was having to post things. Like, she literally come at me and she was like, you don't post nothing about me. And I said, Chelsea, I'm staying in Ohio and I'm not supposed to be up here. And she said, yeah, but you should at least acknowledge me as a girlfriend. So I had to start posting stuff on Facebook because she started to get all antsy about it. And I started to worry because you're threatening to take my life away. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might as well kill me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what you're trying to do pretty much by throwing me in the penitentiary for years. And I don't know. I just walked on eggshells back and forth and back and forth, and I tried everything I could to make her happy. Like, I'm at my buddy Scott's house right now.
Right.
You can ask him. I talk to him every day, and I'd be like, man, I don't know what to do with Chelsea. I can't get her to be happy. And he was like, well, have her to come over here, and y'all bring the dirt bike and stuff, and y'all have a family day. And finally, I got her. I talked her into coming over here one day, and she ignored me the whole time we was here. And right before she left, I stood in her doorway, and she kept trying to shut the door. I said, I'm not letting you shut this damn car door until you fucking smile. And she looked over at her daughter, Audrey, in the passenger seat, and she smiled because Audrey's
Right.
cheesing at her, so she smiled. So I let her go. But then after that, she wanted to keep coming over here. She seen it was fun or whatever. But that lasted like 2 days. And then one day Scott's like, where's Chelsea at? And I was like, we're fighting. He's like, again? He's like, bro, what the fuck? Like, people seeing it ain't normal. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's me trying to fucking constantly 24/7 kiss ass, make her happy so I don't get fucked around. You know what I'm saying? And that's all it was. It wasn't a relationship.
All right.
It
So what
wasn't.
happened last weekend? What caused the initial fight?
Well, look, so her niece came up and started staying with us. And her niece was like staying in our room and laying in my area of the bed. And I told Chelsea, I was like, I'm not comfortable with this. It's my personal space. So she ends up fucking telling her daughter to sleep on the couch, staying there or whatever. But her niece was like kiss assed her, and I knew that was bad because that was going to be enabling for her, right? And
Okay.
it ended up happening just a few days after she got there. I was standing in the living room and Chelsea wasn't happy about something. And I said it just as calmly as I'm talking right now. I looked at her and I said, I should just get my things and leave. And she said, no, you're not leaving. And I said, yeah, Chelsea, if I want to leave, I'm going to leave. And she looked directly at her niece and she said, call the cops. And that girl literally picked her phone up and started calling the cops. I
Wow.
had, listen, I had to yell for Audrey upstairs to come down to stop this. You don't know the shit that I've been through with that woman. And that was just a couple days before this incident.
She was spiraling out of control, wasn't she?
Yeah, yeah. And she's telling everybody that I assaulted her because I wanted sex. I have those messages from that night. It's me outside keeping space between me and her messaging me saying, are you coming in? You never spend time with me. Yada, yada, yada. And I kept saying, why would I want to? We're not in a relationship. We're pretty much roommates. We're not affectionate toward each other. We don't kiss. We don't talk. We don't have sex. There's nothing on the table that is a relationship status. So what the fuck? Why would I want to come in there and hang around you? You threaten me with the cops all the time. Like, why would I? And she said, fine, I'm going to bed. And I said, okay. And then she wrote back and said something like, what, or something. She was mad because I didn't say I love you. Okay, I
Right.
love you. Good night. So I waited like another 30 minutes and I went in and I grabbed my boxers and some shorts and a shirt and I went to take a shower. I told her, I said, I'm going to go take a shower. And I showered. And when I got out, and I took a quick shower too, it was like 5 minutes. And whenever I got back in the bedroom, she had shut all the lights off. Like, it was pitch black in there. You couldn't see nothing. So I went over to my phone. I got on my app and I turned my lamp on that's beside the bed. And
Right.
she immediately wrote over, what the fuck? Like, throwing a fit. And I was like, dude, let me fucking get my clothes put up. And anyways, I ended up getting in bed. And she started on me immediately. I laid down and I rolled over. And I just remember seeing a light. And it was her fucking phone light. She kicked her phone light on. And then she smacked on my shoulder really hard. And I rolled over and I was like, what? And she's like, for real? You don't talk to me? Or something. I can't remember exactly what it was. But I was like, no, Chelsea, I don't want to fucking talk to you, or I don't want to cuddle with you. I don't want to touch, you know. And I tried rolling back over, and she leaned back down, and I looked, and like I looked over my shoulder, and she was like kind of like sitting up on her back, and she hit herself, and was talking about a knife and suicide. And when she hit herself, I rolled back over on my back, and I was like, stop fucking doing that. And when that got my attention, that one hit, she started literally waylaying herself with her fucking her left hand. And mind you, we got like a foot in between us. I'm flat on my back, and
Okay.
she's like sitting kind of like upwards. So I got to go from a back laying position, come up and over to get to her arm. And I missed her arm a couple times. Like I was trying to grab it, and she was hitting herself, right? Well, when I finally grabbed her arm and I pulled, her right arm was loose, and she went like that right there, and this part of her arm laid directly across my face.
And
I
we're going to
have
show all
two
these
breaks right
pictures.
here, and on
Yes.
this side I have a break that goes down into my eye socket. And when she did that, I fucking took my hand and I pushed her head, and I fucking grabbed her, and I tried to like subdue her, and she started going nuts. Legs, arms, everything, fucking swinging, kicking. She was trying to like kick at the window, just being stupid. So I fucking let go of her, and I stepped back, and she got up and come at me. So I fucking grabbed her again, and I slammed her to the ground. And this whole time I'm telling her, stop fucking doing this. Stop goddamn doing this. And I fucking let her up because she told me she'd be calm, right? I let her up. Nope. Went right back to being combative. She was like over by the door, and she's telling everybody that I held her captive, right? She rakes everything off of the fucking dresser. There's a dresser that sits there. She rakes everything off and like kind of like in a throwing manner towards me. And when she did, I went back up to grab her again. When I fucking grabbed her, I slung her to the bed. And when I slung her to the bed, I seen my phone. And I started reaching for my phone, and she fucking bit my hand. And that's when the camera comes on. I'm like, you fucking bitch, you bit my fucking finger. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So in the video, you see me sitting on top of her, right?
Right.
Everybody's saying it looks bad, but that's my evidence. I took that video, and I had just received facial fractures and a bunch of other marks. I got claw marks. They took 80-some pictures at the hospital to document all my wounds.
Wow.
And so everybody who's saying that I'm sitting on top of her that's wrong, I had just stopped this woman from hurting herself. She was talking about getting a knife from the kitchen, and friggin' look at all my wounds. If you just received all them wounds, are you gonna let that person continue to just rampage and do whatever the hell you want? No, you're gonna fucking subdue them. And if you watch those videos, watch who's flinching when the other person comes toward them. It's not her. She's not goddamn flinching. It's me. It's
Why did
bullshit.
you send the video of you restraining Chelsea to Victoria, Chelsea's niece?
No, listen. All that bullshit is me opening up to Victoria, trying to tell her, like, hey, like, this is what I'm going through. And then she tells Chelsea. Chelsea gets mad and says I'm talking shit about her. And I'm not talking shit. I'm fucking telling her what you're doing to me. You're holding me goddamn hostage. You're threatening me with the cops all the fucking time. You take whatever you want that's mine. They was a team. They fucking tag teamed me is what they goddamn did. And I knew it was going to be bad.
Said that night when all that was going on, that you sent her the video of you sitting on Chelsea restraining her.
Yeah, you know why I did? Because me and Chelsea share an iCloud account. And I'm driving, right? I pull into my old boss's house because I'm driving there to get Wi-Fi because I had this phone right here. I took it brand new out of the box because I couldn't find my iPhone.
Right.
So I took this out of the box and I needed Wi-Fi. I was going to call the cops. While I'm sitting there, I see my iPhone on the floorboard. I reach down and grab my iPhone. I open it. I send those videos to her and to Chelsea's accounts because I knew that once Chelsea got in that iCloud, she was going to delete those videos. So I knew if I had it on my Facebook, I'd be okay because I'd be able to log back in and I'd have copies of those.
There you go.
That's why they receive those videos.
So there's the other video where you're saying that Chelsea bit you,
Yeah,
and
there's two videos. There's the one where she bit me.
she peed on your clothes, and at the end of the video, she breaks out the window.
Right.
Do you
There's
explain?
actually three videos. One of them is where it's dark. I haven't had a chance to get the light on yet, but it's recording. It's like a 12-second video, And it's where you can hear me say, "Hey, fucking bitch, you bit my finger." Like, you can hear me saying that. Now,
Okay.
supposedly she bit my finger while I was choking her. How am I going to choke her with a phone in my hand and me sitting on top of her? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
No. Like, her story don't fucking add up. And these goddamn cops won't hear a fucking word I'm saying. They won't listen to me. They keep saying, well, it'll get sorted out in court. Yeah, after I have to fucking find a lawyer and spend thousands of dollars to get it sorted out. I can't do that. My nose is fucking shattered. Like, my whole face. My sinuses, I feel it when I suck through my nose. Like, I'm crying right now. I feel it. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Right.
And
Yeah.
anytime I touch my nose at all, it crunches. It's like super fucked up in there. And I've never had a broken nose in my life because I'm not a confrontational person. I don't confront people and fight people, you know.
Right.
But
So besides the facial fractures, what else?
I
What else do
have,
you have?
what I'll do is I'll just send you the doctor's report, and it shows you in there. It tells you
Oh, I
where
have
every
it.
spot,
No,
every
you
spot
sent
on
it to
my
me, but
body.
I want you to explain.
Okay,
Basically,
so the worst wounds that I had was my nose being broke. And here's what's crazy: I didn't even know it broke it.
right.
I just remember her hitting me. You know what I'm saying? And I seen like a white flash all of a sudden, and
Yeah.
it was a solid hit too because it was bone against bone. You know.
Right.
But the next day or the day after, I was at the jail and I was being released, and he's like, "Who blacked your eyes?" And I said, "Black my eyes." And I said, "I got black eyes." And see, I've always had dark circles under my eyes, so I thought he was just talking about that. So I looked at this lady who was being booked in, and I said, "My eyes black?" And she said, "Yeah, both of them." She said, "Right here." And I was like, "Oh shit!" So I immediately went in the bathroom at the jail because I was being released. They had like a dressing area, and I looked at it, and they was both black. And I was like, "Oh man!" And what's crazy is like it hurt, but it wasn't. It didn't hurt to the point where I thought it was going to be shattered, broken. And I got a video of me asking that doctor, like, "Is it fractures?" And he said, "No, it's broken. It's broke."
We're
And
gonna
I was like,
include that. Yep.
yeah. So, but the second video is after she's told me she'll stay calm, and I've let her up again.
Right.
And she lights her a cigarette. She'd got her a pop. She's sitting there at the bed. I'm standing over by the dresser, and I got my phone sitting there. She don't know I'm videoing at this time. She didn't
Hmm.
know this because I'm using a flashlight for a light, and I've just turned the phone light off.
Right.
And while she's sitting there, I walk over to the refrigerator, which is on the opposite side of the room. I'm nowhere near the door that she's being held through or held by, she claims.
Right.
I go to get a pop. I open the fridge and see there's none in there. So I walk back over to where I was standing at, where I was talking to her at. And then I thought, oh, well, there's a 12 pack. It's hot. I'll go over and get a pop out of the 12 pack. So I walk over and grab the 12 pack. And I walk over and I open my pop. I'm drinking it. And she's like, she says something. And, or no, it's me. I go to get her attention. And I'm like, hey, we didn't have to go through all that. Like, what the fuck, you know? And she says, something about it don't matter, we're not together. And I said, yeah, we was together before all that happened, you know, like what the fuck.
Right.
So she looks at me and then she says, you hit me. And if you notice, she says it multiple times throughout the videos. You hit me, she says, referring to a hit is what she's doing. She don't say
Right.
you choked me, you strangled me. She don't say none of that. She says you hit me. And then she tries to say, you've done this before. And I said, no, I haven't. Whatever. And that's whenever she
How did
fucking,
she get the bloody lip, Mike?
what?
Her bloody lip. How did that happen?
Listen, it could have happened when she was hitting herself, or it could have happened when we was tussling. Because as many injuries as I received from just the tussling around trying to subdue her, it could have happened during that. And
Right.
bloody lips look worse than what they are when blood starts coming out. You know what I'm saying? Show me
Right.
a broken bone. Show me some fractures. Show me something like that. Show
Right.
me serious injury. I received more serious injuries than she did that night. And I wasn't even being combative. I was just trying to subdue her, and that's why I received more injuries. You know?
Right. Right.
And so in that video, you can see she's not crying, and she's smoking, and she's telling the prosecutors and everybody that I just strangled her so bad she couldn't breathe and she peed on herself, right? Well, in the video, you see her smoking. If I just got strangled to the point to where I thought I was going to die, I'm not going to jump straight up and light a cigarette. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So she's sitting there smoking, and that Victoria girl claims you can see her chest bouncing where she's breathing so hard. But I watched it, and she's not. She's sitting there just calm, and she's able to do a cry. And listen, I don't care if you're deaf or if you're not deaf. Crying is natural. It's a natural thing that we do. You don't like be deaf and make a weird crying sound because you don't know what it's ever sound like. Your body naturally whelps and weeps. You know what I'm saying? And in
Mhm.
that video, you can't tell if she's laughing or crying because she's trying to make a crying sound, but she don't know what they sound like. So she sounds like she's laughing, and everybody's like, "Is she laughing?" No, and that's not Chelsea's cry. I've heard Chelsea cry a lot, and that is not it. That is not Chelsea's cry. That is a high pitched, getting attention, like fake cry is what that is. And she kept going, doing it and stopping, doing it and stopping, doing it and stopping it, and then and literally what she's trying to do is get attention from her niece. And she messaged her niece too. Her niece wrote in there and said, "What's going on?" And she wrote her back and said, "Arguing with dumbass." That's what she wrote her niece and said. So when she seen that, I was like, not like I don't know. She wanted it to go further. She started to feel like, hey, this is about to end and it's over. He ain't gonna go to jail. Because in the video you can see her like whenever she looks at me and she says something and I confront her about it and I say it right to her face, she pauses and you can see like a blank thinking stare on her. And
Right.
then whenever she says something else, she said, "Let me go, let me go!" And she starts screaming, "Let me go!" And I'm looking at her and I said, "I'm not holding you. What the fuck are you talking about? I told you to be quiet. That's not me holding you." And that's all I did the whole time was me telling her to stop being combative and to be quiet. Please be quiet. The kids are in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck? She don't care. She don't give a fuck about nobody. She don't listen. If you don't care to kill yourself, you sure as fuck don't give a fuck about that person. You don't care about this person. You're a broken person who just don't give a fuck. And whenever she fucking gave me that blank stare and started thinking, that's whenever she reaches over and goes boom and hits that fucking window and starts screaming, "Help! Help!" Trying to draw attention out of the fucking window.
Right.
And look, so that night when all that happened, I didn't get to talk or nothing. They just straight fucking put handcuffs on me.
Yeah, so
And
what happened? So you wind up leaving? Did you get in your truck?
yeah,
And
listen to this. This is very important. So, whenever, like in the video, you can see her walking out the room. She was never held. She walked straight out the room, and she starts fucking screaming to her niece who's on the couch. I grabbed my basket of clothes that she peed on, and I went out to my truck. But as I'm walking through the living room, I told her she come out and she's like, "Yeah, you hit me," and like pointing in her face. And I said, "I got it on camera, Chelsea. I got it on camera." And I walked out to my truck. I popped my driver's side door open and I set the basket of clothes in the passenger seat and I go back in to get my fucking this bag right here. I
right.
keep my wallet in this. It had $810 cash in it. Well, I walk back in and I can't find it. It's nowhere. And I don't want to be there when the cops show up because I don't want it to be like, oh, she's the one that called the cops now. So I want to get to the cops and be able to call and be like, look, she's fucking staging this shit.
Right.
So I left, but when I come back out to my truck, she had took that basket of clothes and threw it out on the ground. So she was trying to rip the stuff I was putting in my truck out. But I jumped in my truck anyways. Fuck it, you can have them goddamn clothes. I jumped in, started my truck. She stood in my front of my truck, and I put it in gear, and I just etched forward like a foot until she finally moved out of the way, and I fucking took off. And I'm looking for my phone, I can't find it. So I reached down in this basket that I have that I sell phone stuff out of, and I grabbed this phone, brand in the box, and I rip it out of the box. I'm literally just tear the box all to pieces and get it out. And I start having to go through the settings because it's a brand new phone. I'm like, skip, 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 skip. And finally, I get to where it will allow me to use it. And I pull into my boss's place of work where I used to work at, and I connect to the Wi-Fi. And literally, as soon as I connect to the Wi-Fi, I hear gravel crunching. I look at my rear view, and there's lights pulling up behind me, and it's the cops. So she's telling everybody that I got her phone. What I'm thinking's happened is she put it in my truck so she could know where I was going. She's smart. She's very smart, because them
Well,
cops found me before I was even able to get a
like
call off.
two
And
seconds.
he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Man," I said, "me and my girl's fighting." I said, "I had to come over here to get Wi-Fi so I could call the police." And I said, "Plus, I'm thirsty." I said, "I need to get a drink of water, man." I said, "There's a water spigot right here." I said, "I'm dying of thirst because I just went through an altercation." And he ended up letting me go over and get a drink of water. And he's asking me, "What all happened, man?" And I told him, I didn't tell him that she hit herself. I didn't tell him about that because I didn't want either one of us going to jail.
Right.
Because that's where I stand at with it. You know what I'm saying? Because I do love the girl, so I wasn't there to jeopardize her going to jail. But at the same time, I told the man, man, if you look, I was like, I got all these injuries, and I was like, I got this video of her, acting out or whatever. And he called the Richwood police. He said, have you talked to this young man, or do you want to talk to him? And they was like, yeah. So he hung the phone up. He said, Richwood Police is going to be coming over here. And I was like, awesome, because I want to show him this stuff.
Right.
And that other officer was like, you want me to cuff him? And he said, no, don't cuff him yet. He said, he may not be the one getting cuffed. He said that, you know what I'm saying? And then whenever they called back to the Richwood Police, and I guess they told him, go ahead and cuff him. He said, well, you might want to check the young man out because he's got a lot of injuries. They're really fresh, like they're bleeding and there's welts and stuff all over him. And he's got a video on his phone, that's showing the lady acting out or whatever. And they said, nope, he's the aggressor. Handcuff him. So they handcuff me, and I get put in the back seat of the cop car, and they drive me over to the Dollar General, and we meet the cop there. And as soon as we pull in, I see that it's the same cop as last time. And I was like, fuck, man. And sure enough, we got out.
Look.
He literally was like, I'm going to read you your rights. And he read me my rights, and he opened the door, and he's like, all right, go ahead and get in. And I was like, what about my injuries? And he's like, where's your injuries at? And I'm in handcuffs. Show me your injuries, he said. How am I going to show you my injuries? I can't lift my thing up, my shirt. I can't show you nothing when I'm in handcuffs, And the officer was like, well, I know he's got some on his leg right here. And they lifted my shorts up. And he was like, I'll take pictures of that. So he took pictures of my leg. And he took pictures of something else, my arm right here. And literally, I'm in cuffs. They literally just pulled the sleeve up like that right there and took pictures of it while I'm in handcuffs, right? And so they're taking me to jail. And on the way to jail, I start getting super dizzy because I'm dehydrated really bad. My mouth's dry. I'm like, man, I'm hot. Can you please crack a window? He said, no, I'm not cracking a window. And I was like, please. And I had them strokes while I was in prison. And I started getting super freaking dizzy to the point where it's making me nauseous. And I started feeling numbness in these two fingers right here. Oh, no. And I was like, oh, man, please, God, don't let me fucking have a stroke. You know what I'm saying? Right in the middle of all this shit. And I told that cop, I was like, please get an ambulance to stop and at least check me out. And they stopped and checked me out, but he's telling them, like, I just got him arrested. He's probably just, on some bullshit, faking it or something. So they're like, you're fine. And I was like, dude, man, please, y'all fucking at least check me out. Like, seriously, I'm being dead ass serious. Like, I've had a stroke before. I know what the feeling is, And my leg, and this is all on my left side of my body. So I'm like, man, my leg's fucking feeling numb too. Please, man, just check me out. See if I'm having a stroke. Give me medicine. Give me blood thinner, something, And he was like, well, I'll drive you to the hospital. So he drives me to the hospital, and they took the handcuffs off of me, and I got to stay in a room. And they come in there, and they run a test on me, and they gave me some medicine, like for stroke, I guess, or whatever, and anxiety and dizziness to keep the nausea away. But I can hear that cop the whole time out in the hallway talking shit about me. And he's talking about how I fake stuff and I'm a liar and all this shit. And I told him, I said, I can fucking hear you. And he said, good. And I said, yeah, good, motherfucker. And I mean, it's how I was being treated. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah.
Whenever I got to the jail, I got the handcuffs took off of me. I'm like, all right. I was like, get your camera and start, get these pictures. And he looked at me and he's like, all right, I'll go get the camera. And he made a smart ass remark, like saying it like he was joking.
Right.
Well, he wasn't going to take pictures of my shit. So they get me put in the holding cell. And I'm yelling through the crack, hey, get that police officer. He's got to take pictures of me. Because once he's gone, the jail won't do it at all. They won't take pictures of it because it's not part of their investigation. They're just there to detain you and hold you. Mm-hmm. So I had to get a roll of toilet paper. I dipped it straight down in the bowl of the toilet. And I fucking launched it as hard as I could. Splat! It hit the window. And I said, what are you motherfuckers come in here? And the captain or one of them, he's a big old dude. He come in there, and as soon as he opened that door, I put my hands on my head, and I was like, I'm not being combative. I was like, don't slam me, don't restrain me, don't spray me. And I was like, he's like, what the fuck is going on? And I was like, that officer, he's refusing to take pictures of my injuries. When he leaves, it's over with. I said, I need him to come in here and document my injuries. And I showed him, and he was like, okay. He's like, but fucking clean this shit up. So he shut the door, and I did. I cleaned the stuff up, and that cop come back in there with that camera. He went and stopped him, and he took pictures of me and whatever. And the next morning I woke up, they brought me a paper saying that my charges had been upped from domestic violence to felony strangulation. And I was like, are you fucking serious? I
Okay,
just,
so as much as you can talk about, you went to court the next morning, and what happened with court?
the prosecutor wanted to give me a $15,000 surety bond, and or 15,000 secured by 20%, which would have been like 500 cash.
Okay.
And I told, and which I had 500 cash right in my wallet, but I didn't have it with me. It was at Chelsea's. My truck's been impounded. So I told that judge, I said, Your Honor, I said, I was in your court last year with these same charges. I never missed a court date. I was always on time. I was punctual. I said, I dressed proper. I said, I respect the courts. I said, but I'm in a situation here. I said, I'm in Ohio. I don't have family. I said, the people that this happened with is my only family that I have. And I said, the officer took my phone. I said, so I have no numbers, no contacts, no way to call anybody. I said, my truck is in impound. I said, and my wallet is at the house. And I said, I have $810 to my name. I said, but I can't get to it. There's no way for me to get to it. I have nobody I can call to get to it. I said, all my family that lives in Kentucky, I don't know their numbers. And even if I did, they're all the way, 6 hours away. I said, would you consider, giving me an OR bond just so I can get out? I said, even if it's just like for like 3 days, and then I can come back over here and secure the 500 by property, or I can go back to what she's wanting. And
Right.
he was like, okay, I'll take that into consideration or whatever. Well, he was like, all right, my decision is I'm gonna give Mr. Harmon a recognizance bond, on recognizance bond today. And he was like, just make sure you're at court. He was like, do you want to waive this hearing? And it was for the felony. And I was like, no, I'd like to have that. And he said, okay, well, we'll schedule that for Monday. So he scheduled it for yesterday. And when
Right.
I went in, I actually ended up waiving it because they wasn't going to let me testify. They wasn't going to hear none of my evidence. It was only going to be Chelsea's side of the story, and we was allowed to cross-examine. That was all it was going to be.
Okay.
But I will say this. I ended up seeing that police officer that arrested me because I drove over there to the police station, and I was wanting to talk to him about, my stuff and everything. Because the judge signed a paper for me to go be able to walk in and get my personal things like hygiene,
Right.
my clothes.
What's going on with getting your stuff from Chelsea's house?
It's not happening. She threw a few things out in the backyard, like my bed, one basket of clothes, the pee basket. It was back there. It was dirty clothes. There was some shoes, which was like all my used shoes, but all my brand new shoes she kept, other than one pair. She gave me one pair of my new shoes. There was 3 brand new pairs of boots. She kept all those. My narcotics, medicine, she kept that as Subutex. She kept my bottle of gabapentin, which is a narcotic. She had my camo bag, but I seen it laying there, and that's what had my wallet in it. And I immediately went for that, and I pulled it out, and there was my wallet. And as soon as I grabbed my wallet, I knew it was empty. Because when you have a lot of money in a leather wallet for, say, a week or so, it causes it to form, and it gets real thick. And then when you take that money out, it's always feeling like flat, like fluffy flat. And that's what it was as soon as I grabbed it. So I knew that she had my money. And so I tell that officer, I said, are we going to get to go in? She said, let's check all the doors. So we went around the house and checked every door. She had every one of them locked, dead bolted, and she wasn't there. And she was supposed to be there or have the door unlocked and not be there and let the officer take me in. And she didn't do that. So I told the judge that she did that yesterday. And he said, well, okay, I'll put a continuance on it so you can go back and get your stuff. And I said, okay. So yesterday I went on TikTok Live so I'd have witnesses, and I went over there and I talked to the chief of police, and that man was handling me rough. And I asked for a complaint form so I could file a complaint, and he said, who do you file a complaint on? And I said, I don't know, you or that officer that arrested me. He said, what for? I said, for not taking my statement, and that for not investigating both sides of a domestic dispute, and for assuming that I was lying about things, and and spreading rumors about me for saying that I was a liar, that I was having medical issues, that it was fake, it was lies. I said, I've been incarcerated most of my life. I said, you think I'm scared to go to jail? No, I'm not. So I'm not going to use a medical excuse to try to avoid jail when I know as soon as I'm done there, I'm going to jail anyways. I want to get to jail, get to court, and get out as fast as possible. And all that, if I'm having a stroke, it's going to slow me down and stop me. You know what I'm saying? Why would I fake a stroke and slow myself down? I said, and he did nothing but sit there and slander me the whole time we was in the hospital. And he was like, well, I'm not giving you no complaint because I didn't hear anything worth complaining about. And I was like, all right. I was like, well, I need to go get my stuff. He said, where's your paperwork at? I said, y'all have it. He said, no, the judge gives you that. And I said, yeah, it's a continuance on the paperwork that I gave you the other day. And he was like, well, he's like, you need to call up there. I said, I'm not calling nobody. I said, they told me to tell you if you wanted to know exactly what I could have, you could call them. And I said, but I know what they told me I could have. Told me I could go in there and get my tools because I do construction work. Told me I could get my fan because it's a construction fan. We use it on job sites.
Right.
Told me I could get my work boots. Told me I could get my medication and my phone devices. He went in there and came out and he said, I talked to him. They said that you could get one tool bag and your clothes. And I said, well, what about my medication? Nope, can't get your medication. You're denying me my health stuff. You know how big of a fucking that is so criminal right there. These are the cops doing this. Wow. The people who should know these laws. This is the police doing this to me. So I told him, I started to get red with him. He said, do you want your shit or not? And I said, yeah, I want my shit. Let's go. So I fucking go. I get in my truck. We meet over there. And he knocks on the door, and I got the camera flipped to where you can see it. And I heard one of her kids open the door.
Right.
And he said, is your mother here? She said, or he said, whoever it was like, yeah, 1 second. I heard Chelsea come to the door. I can't see, but I can see the door had opened, right? And I can see him. And I see him talking for a second. I can't understand what he's saying. And all of a sudden, bam, door slams in his face. And when I say slam, she slammed it. And
she slammed the door in the cop's face. Holy shit.
Slammed the door in the cop's face. He starts kissing ass through the window. Man, Chelsea, I won't let him talk to you. He won't hurt you. I'll protect you. Or even if you want me to come in, I'll come in and get the stuff. But we have to do it because the court sent me over here. And she's like, nope, fuck you, nope. Like, just telling him no or whatever. And he's like, please. He's like, I know you're traumatized from your incident. And, you know, you're the victim. And I literally yelled out the window. I said, you're old kiss-ass motherfucker. I'm like, how come you wasn't fucking talking to me like that, being polite to me like that a minute ago? You was fucking handling me like some punk. And I did all this on live, too, so I hope somebody got that recorded. I hope somebody did. But anyways, he walks over. He's like, he said, she set your stuff out back. And I said, all right, well, fucking let's go. And I started the truck. I pulled around back. There was nothing out there. Nothing. And he said, well, look in the back room right there. And I looked in the back room, and thank God I seen my stereo system. And it's in a tote, and I grabbed it real fast, and I took it and put it on my truck. And I said, none of my clothes are here. None of my tools are here. And I was like, we're the court order says we're allowed to go in the house. He said, it's not a court order. I said, yes, it is. That's what a standalone is. It's a fucking court order for me to come and get my stuff. And he said, no, it's not. And I said, oh my God, are you fucking serious, man? And I said, well, walk over here to this shed with me so you can see my tools that's in there. Because literally they cleaned my tools out. There's no tools, none in there. And I had thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of tools. And some of them belonging to my dead family members. And so I told him, I said, come over here with your body cam and look, and at least show that this building's empty. He said, I'm not doing nothing. I was like, wow, are you serious? And he wouldn't walk over. And I said, man, do your job. Goddamn. He said, my job ain't to mediate you and your girlfriend every time you get in a fight. I just, at that point, I was just fed up. I was like, man, fuck you, man. I was like, you're some bullshit, dude. I said, I can't stand motherfucking cops. And I said, well, you better document that she wouldn't let us in the goddamn house. He said, I'm not doing that either. And when
so
he
what
did,
did
Mary,
you get from her house? Were you able to get any tools, anything from her house?
No, Mary. The other day, whenever I went there, I managed to get my kids' go-kart and their mini bike, and right. I I gathered my tool bags that was empty. I had the DeWalt equipment. I had grinders, saws, skill saws, and these are all running on batteries. These batteries are like $180 a
No.
piece.
Yeah.
Okay,
Hmm.
none of that stuff's in there. None of it. And
Wow.
whoever went in there and looked in there knew their shit because they got all the good stuff. And Chelsea had a little drill set that was from Walmart. It was like a $40 drill set, like made by Hart,
Yeah.
super cheap. It was laying there. I was like, yeah. So whoever come in here knew the expensive stuff. They was, and even like wrenches and stuff. They picked through the wrenches and the screwdrivers. All the good screwdrivers had been picked out. And her kids, that they can't tell a Phillips from a flathead. You know what I'm saying? They don't know tools at all. So I knew at that point that her dad had been in there, and he had nitpicked it and got all everything he wanted. And I've got confirmation since then from somebody who's staying over at Chelsea's that her dad has my fucking tools. And also a jack that belongs to this gentleman whose house I'm at right now, because he let Chelsea borrow this jack to jack up a car to get tires off of it to put on her car. So he's helping her, and what's she do? Steals his jack because he knows me. He associates with me.
How nice.
Yep.
Ah.
And so I told that cop I was just cussing him. I was giving him hell, and he said, "I'll arrest you for not domestic, but disorderly conduct." I said, "Buddy, I know the disorderly conduct laws." I said, "You're not going to arrest me for telling you what you can and cannot do, bub." I said, "If you don't like what's coming out of my mouth," I said, "you sound just like she fucking does. You want to get mad and fucking get your panties in a wad when you don't like what you're hearing. You sound like fucking Chelsea does. Want to get pissed?" So I jumped in my fucking truck and I left.
So
I
let
ain't
me,
called the prosecutors, nobody to tell them. I probably should. I don't know who the fucking reach. I don't know. I just don't know. They're not cooperating with me. They won't hear my evidence. They want nothing. Nothing's being done. Nothing.
when is your next court date?
They haven't gave it to me yet.
Shit. So, Mike, while you were in custody, there was some funny screenshots posted to your Facebook.
Yeah,
Want
there
to
was a
talk
lot of
about?
stuff.
Yeah,
She,
let's get into that.
she's still in my Facebook. She's in my Snapchat. She's in my Facebook. She's in my Instagram and my TikTok. All four of those, she's in them. I can go right to it and it shows her IP address right on there. And she's either paid somebody or knows somebody who does hacking because I kept having all this weird shit happening on my account. So I kept getting on there, and I'm pretty good at knowing about stuff like this. I do a little bit of hacking myself. So I'm getting on there and I'm trying to figure out what the fuck's going on. And I'm kicking everybody off but my devices. But then today I found out that they're using mirroring. They're using my IP address and my mirroring of my device. So
Okay.
where it says Razer flip phone, it's really either me or the person who's doing the hacking using a mirroring IP address.
Wow.
So
Okay.
now I'm having to just hit log all devices out and then log back in and try to change the password real fast before they're able to log back in, right? But still, they're I don't know how they're doing it. They've added backup. They added Chelsea's C Gillum at gmail.com as a backup for my accounts, and I can't get it off there. So they keep using that to back up into my accounts and stuff. So all my accounts are hacked. I had a girl write me today. She said, "Why you keep unfriending me?" I said, "It's not me. I swear it's not me. It's fucking Chelsea." And it's the girl that was at the hotel with me at night. So Chelsea's jealous about it. So she's done like unfriending her every chance she gets.
And how about those other messages that she was
So,
putting?
and listen to this. So the messages that you see, I started at OnlyFans. It ended up getting restricted, but I had met some clients on there, right?
Okay.
And to Instagram with it. The client that I talked to, he's a gay black male, and he pays me for pictures and stuff. Sometimes videos, and we even do like face chats, like video chats and stuff. And whenever you're doing those like OnlyFans things, you sell fantasies is what you're doing. You're selling a persona, and I I don't know. I'm shocked that she posted it because this is this man's personal life,
Did
and
she know that you were doing this?
that's what I was about to say. I bought Chelsea's anniversary gift with the money that that gentleman sent. She laid right there next to me, watching me message this man. So she knew those messages was in my Instagram, so that's why she went straight there and got them, posted them on a biker site, and said, "As a gay man, I love getting extra money," whatever she said. But
Yeah.
in the picture, you see her, you can see where she's
You
taking
can see her
pictures,
screenshot.
and you
Yes.
can see her silhouette.
Yes. Yes, you can. I'm gonna put in one. I'll put in one of those messages at the end of the video, so you could see. I mean, you could clearly see her reflection.
Yep,
That's what was so
plain,
funny about it.
plain as day. And
And
look,
I
I'll
saw
send
those
you, I'll send
messages,
you,
Mike. That
I'll
was
send.
actually the first thing I thought. I said, "Wait a second, I could see Chelsea."
Right, I know, right? I'll send you a video recording of my screen where I'm recording all the activity that happened while I was
I have
incarcerated.
that. Yes, I have that. Yes, which
Okay, well that's what you need to post because that shows right there that my very active. People was getting blocked. People was getting unfriended. People was getting friended. People was getting followed. And I was like, damn, that's more activity than what I wanted. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the hell? What's going on
right,
here?
right,
And I just want to let all my fans who's like trying to send me friend requests on Facebook, my account is maxed out on friend requests. Can't add no more people, so just give me a follow, and I'll come back and give you a follow.
right. Okay, so Mike, I think your picture's frozen for a second. I can still
You're
hear you.
cutting out on me right there.
Okay, so I want to ask you, Beth
Still,
has made some comments. Okay, Mike, I have to ask you. Beth had made some comments, Chelsea's friend Beth, about you guys being toxic together and you guys doing drugs together.
right.
What do you say about that?
Well, I could show you the screenshots where I wrote her, and I told her, I said, look, I said, I don't know what you're referring to in this. You said there's a video. I was like, I promise you there's no video of me doing anything. And she wrote back and she was like, she said, look, I've seen the video of you and Chelsea. She said, I know that she was the one that was the problem. She said, because I've known Chelsea my whole life. She said, if you was doing the things that she's claiming that you did, she wouldn't have been sitting on that bed that calm. And she said, but as far as the drug use thing goes, I do know someone who has a video. So I wrote her back and I said, listen, I said, I'm not trying to be rude, but I would bet you my 4 weeks paycheck against your paycheck that there's no video, that it's just false accusations.
A video of you and Chelsea doing drugs together?
That's what she's claiming.
Okay,
And she read it, never wrote back.
okay, okay, Mike. I have to ask you, what would you say to someone who's sitting here watching this interview and going, ah, this guy's full of shit. He's going to get back together with her. He loves that toxic, crazy shit.
No,
So
listen,
you did it
guys.
once already. Okay,
Listen,
so,
I've always been in healthy relationships. This is the first toxic relationship that I've been in. It's the first time I've dealt with narcissists. And if you know how narcissists work, you know that they get in your head, that they're good at manipulating you and making you think they changed. And I've been played. I've been played like a fool. But this last time, after coming up here, after learning what narcissistic traits are, I don't even know how to say the word because I ain't familiar with it really. But learning about all those things, I realized that I have been played, and it's been going on for years now. And that's the reason I'm in this situation. And look, I don't blame this situation on nobody. I take full responsibility for putting myself back in that environment. But at the same time, nobody deserves this. Nobody, no matter what you do.
right. I just want to ask you, you said that last year when this happened the first time, you guys were getting ready to film for the show. And the storyline was going to be that Chelsea cheated on you.
Yeah, Chelsea cheated on me like 7 different times.
Wow.
She's always found messages to show off, but I do OnlyFans. Even in prison, I did that. I would talk to gay men. I would talk to straight women. I would talk to people, and they would send me money. That's what I did. A lot of people in prison do that. And so whenever she's showing all these messages off of everything, none of it proves that I cheated. It's women that's in other countries. It's women that's in other states and stuff. You know, it's bullshit. and I can show, and I can put you in contact with a woman who will tell you. She's a pretty woman. She's been trying to get with me for over a year now, and I've told her no. I'm with Chelsea. If this don't pan out, I got you. You know what I'm saying? But I can't do that while I'm in a relationship.
Right.
That's just who I am.
Do you have a place to stay for now?
Yeah, I'm living in a big nice house with a beautiful family. We eat dinner together. We do movie nights. We go out to the steak houses. We're doing normal family stuff, you know.
Right.
And I didn't realize how toxic that place was. Like they brought in like $400 worth of groceries the other day,
Uh-huh.
and they're all still in the cabinets. If you want to go in there and eat, you can. At Chelsea, still go spend 500, 600, and 2 days later, there's nothing to eat in that kitchen because everybody grabs and steals and takes what they want to the room and everything. And I got to where I was buying my own food and just taking it to my room and keeping my own food in my room because
Wow.
Chelsea would do whatever God knows with her fucking food stamps.
How much longer do you have on your parole?
Last time I checked, it was showing 5/13/2026. But for every 2 months, I get a month free. So really, it's
Right.
like cut in half, you know. So I got like 4, maybe 5 months left.
Okay. What is your short-term plan to get back on your feet?
Okay, so I have an awesome team backing me. Uh, the gentleman that paid to get my truck out of impound, I want to shout out to him and his company, Area 51 Mowing. It was based out of Richwood here, but now it's based out of Marion, Ohio. That
And that's
man's
where
been
you
good to me.
work.
Him and his wife and his mother, they've all been good to me. Uh, you know, they
Is
helped me
that your
mentally by
boss,
talking to
Mike?
me. Huh?
Uh, is that your boss? Is that
Yeah,
where you
that's my boss. Yeah, he's my boss. And so he got my truck out, and I was offering like, hey, I'll give you this go kart and this mini bike to hold, and it's worth like almost $2,000. And he was like, well, yeah, we'll work something out. And he messaged me. He said, do you have anybody that could put the money up until I can get to the bank? And I was like, yeah, my buddy Scott has the money. We could go ahead and ride and get it. He said, do that, and I'll pay him back. We'll meet back in Richwood. And I said, okay. And I got back to Richwood, and I was like, you want me to pick the bike and the go kart up? He said, no. He said, don't worry about it. He said, we'll just take some out every week when you work. We'll take some out.
right?
I was just blown away with that because that was like almost $600, you know. But anyway, so he's putting me to work. The family that I'm living with, I have my own fourth floor, a big loft area. It's a big, beautiful house. I got a big 4-car garage, a pool, trampoline, camper. Like it's a nice house. And these people, I've been trying to move in with them ever since I came to Ohio. And she started that I'll call the cops stuff. I've been trying to move in with these people,
Right.
and they rallied up that day. Whenever I had like Chelsea had threw my bed out, I look up and there he was pulling down the alley. They already had my back without me having to reach out or anything. He's like, we back in. I was like, yeah, back in. You know, like it all just came together. Everything was just happening, bing, 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 and everybody kept saying, man, God's in your favor because everything's falling into place for you. And I'm
Right.
like, I know it really is. I mean, even though I just lost everything I own pretty much, I feel free. I have freedom underneath my belt. I'm fighting a case of a felony, but I'm free. If that makes sense, you know.
Have you spoken to your parole officer?
Yeah, I've spoken to her twice. Yeah, she was upset when I first talked to her,
Right.
but I told her like, look, I came up here because I had made plans to bring my kids over here, you know, because I was serving out that month, and she thought I was too. And I'll say this: so the reason we missed the deadline is because she had lost some paperwork of
Right.
mine.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So that was her fault. So she's feeling some kind of guiltiness over that. And even like whenever they gave me the OR bond, I went back to my cell and they told me I wouldn't be getting out because my parole officer put a hold on me.
Oh.
Yeah. And then like 30 minutes later, they come across the speaker and they said, pack it up. And I was like, what the fuck?
You're like,
And I got out
okay.
there and they was like, your parole officer wants you to report immediately. So I didn't have a phone that first day. I didn't have a vehicle the first day. So I called her on the second day out. And I told her what all had happened, that my truck was in an impound. I was waiting to get it out. And she said, well, look, just report Tuesday then, today. But she called me yesterday and she was like, yeah, she said, just report Tuesday or Wednesday. And I was like, okay. So I'm traveling down to Kentucky. I'm going to leave tonight around midnight and I'm going to travel down. It's about a 6-hour trip.
Right.
And by the time I get there, I'll have like an hour to, change clothes at my sister's house and see my sister for a few minutes, and then cruise on over to the PO's office.
Okay.
So, but my short-term goals is to start focusing on me again, start being myself again, getting my mental health, my physical health back. And because at Chelsea's, sometimes I'd go 3 or 4 days and only eat like a bowl of cereal or a slice of pizza or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was neglecting myself just because there was no food in that house, and I poured all my money into everything, trying to feed the kids, because I know the kids got tired of it because I was buying pizza every day, but it's all I could afford. You know what I'm saying? I
Right.
was only able to go buy $12 worth of pizzas, but it was enough to put everybody a plate of pizza in front of somebody's face. And so I did that, for when I came back to Ohio, I had almost $4,000 cash. I sold one of my phones for $1,100. And then the reason I had cash in my wallet right then, because I had been saving my money from work. I had $290 saved up from work. And I sold a phone that same day that incident happened for $500 cash and some tools.
Wow.
And
Okay.
yeah, yep. And I showed the officers all that. Because they was like, "Can you prove the money was earned?" I was like, "Look, this is just hours before, darkness, and it happened like right after dark, like 10, 11 o'clock." And I said, "This guy came over, and he gave me them tools. And whenever she set my stuff out, she set one of those tools out." And I said, "See, here's proof that I got it, because this is one of the things that's in the picture." And
Right.
it was all $50 bills. And Chelsea had messaged her daughter on our iCloud account and said, "Do you want to go to the mall, just me and you?" Because she had punched her in the face and she was trying to make amends with her. And her Audrey said, "Just me and you?" And she said, "Yeah, just us, boo," or something like that. And I thought, how the fuck are you going to the mall if you ain't working? You know how expensive the mall is?
Yeah, I know.
Hey, easy come, easy go. You hear me? That money, if you get money easy, it's going to go easy.
Very
So,
true. Very true.
yeah. But at least I feel better it got spent on Audrey, one of the kids. If it
Right.
did.
Yeah,
I don't know if it.
exactly.
And my shoes that she kept, they're all about Corey and, Trevor and Audrey's sizes. So I'm hoping if she kept it, at least they got them.
Yeah. So
But
at least you're out of there. Okay. Like you said, you feel free now.
the house I'm living in now is only 4 houses down.
Oh my God.
But
My
listen, I don't go that way. I can go the other way. It's a two-way street, so I go the other way. I don't even
God.
go by her house or nothing
Does she
at
have
all.
a restraining order against you?
Yeah, when that judge asked me, he said, do you wanna fight this? Petition this?" And I said, "No." I said, "Put that bitch in place." I said, "Because that's gonna save me. That's gonna protect me as well."
Exactly.
And
Good.
I
So
thought that,
go the
and I
other
thought that,
way,
I said that.
please.
Listen, I said that because I thought it was like a Kentucky. Because in Kentucky, if you put a restraining order on me, you're not allowed to contact me. I'm not
Right.
allowed to contact you. We could
Right.
both go to jail for that. But apparently in Ohio, it's not like that, because her niece that's on my protection order got on my post and was cussing me and shit.
Oh,
And yeah, and I took it over and showed the cops. It was the same cop that arrested me. Oh yeah, and I want to tell you this. It was the same cop that arrested me, and he told me like Ohio's not like that. Like they can reach out and say whatever they want to. You're the defendant, you are not allowed to. And I said okay. And I said, "Man," I said, "how come you arrested me as the aggressor without seeing the video?" He said, "But I've seen the video now." He said, "It makes you look bad." And I said, "How does it make me look bad?" He said, "You're sitting on top of her." And I said, "I'm not talking about that video. I'm talking about the other one." And he said, "What other one?" And I said, "You ain't seen it?" And he said, "No." I said, "Well, here to look, watch it." So he watches it, right? I get to the end where she's like, doing the put on the frantics and all that and breaking the
right.
window out. And
Mm-hmm.
he seen something. He like took a step back. He said, "Hold on." He said, "Go back about 10 seconds right there." So I went back. I don't know what he was seeing. I said, he said, "No, you went a little too far." He said, "But play it from there again." And that's when she gets up and goes over and pees on my clothes. And you can clearly hear her saying, "I'm peeing on your clothes." I said, "Huh?" She said, "I'm peeing on your clothes." And she squats. And I was like, "Oh, are you fucking serious?" And you can hear me reacting to it. And she's telling everybody she didn't. But whatever he's seen in that video, he said, "Okay, I've seen enough." And I said, "You seen something that went against her statement, didn't you?" I said, "Something." He said, I can't say about that." I said, "I know you did." I said, I seen the way you reacted to that video right there." And I said, I got facial fractures. That's why I was holding her down. I've just been assaulted by this woman. I said, look who's flinching in the videos. Whenever she gets up to like walk past me, I flinch. I like the camera like gets tossed because I flinch
Right.
so hard.
Right. Yeah.
The people who's flinching is usually the victim, you know. It wouldn't take a fucking rocket scientist to just figure it out just from watching those videos.
No, it doesn't take a rocket scientist. But hopefully, Mike,
That
please, that's it. Go the other way on the street. Stay far,
listen,
far away from
listen.
her.
I
Even,
swear on my dead mother's grave that I'm done with that woman.
and I'm gonna keep you to that fucking promise. Okay, please,
And
please.
she kept my mom's stuff too.
I know. You told me your mom's ashes, her stuff. I know.
It's all good though. I had to learn the hard way twice. But
And this time you could chalk it up to life experience. You got to deal with this felony charge now. Okay, hopefully nothing comes out of it, and you just stay the fuck away from her. That's all I can say.
my next move is reaching out to the attorney general and let him know that I got neglected and I was given my constitutional rights of being able to give statement. They didn't ask me anything, and I know
Right,
for a fact when there's a domestic, they have to hear both sides.
right,
That's how you decide who the aggressor is. If you only talk to one person, you're not hearing both sides. What's the point of even having to try to choose if you're only going to talk to one person? Because it takes the choice away from it. Bullshit.
all right, Mike. Before I let you go, and thank you so much for being vulnerable and telling your story. What do you have to say to the fans? How can they contact you, first of all, if they want to talk to you?
Uh,
What's the safest way you would say?
Facebook, honestly, is the safest way. But I mean, they're seeing all of it, so whatever you say, they're going to see. I got to try to figure out, how to put something in place. I got to start saving up money. I'm doing a YouTube video. I got to start saving up money to try to get a lawyer, try to get some legal representation. So if anybody has any advice or knows lawyers or knows pro bono lawyers or something like that, I would love to speak to you. My Facebook is Michael Harmon, Love After Lockup. It's easy to find. Just type those things in. Uh, Hit me up if anybody's ever been through something like this and you want to talk about it. And because I know that's helped me a lot. Is just hearing other people's stories. But yeah, I'm all about talking to people. I love interacting with my fans. I'm sorry that everybody's having to see all this. It's embarrassing as hell.
Yeah, it is, Mike. I mean, it's embarrassing. You got to think about your children,
I know.
you know, and like I said, it's a life experience. Unfortunately, you had to learn the hard way twice, but some of us are more stubborn than others, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you so much. Thank
Thank
you,
you, Mary.
everybody, for watching us, and we'll see you next time.
You can see the one where she busted the window out. So you can see where she's like breathing really hard. That's why, because he strangled her. So here's the video of Mikey on top of my mom and screaming at her. So
She bit me. If you would have stopped a long time ago, it'd been okay. No, you won't stop screaming. That's why. If you would, you fucked my face. Because you fucking bit me. Because you bit me, I gotta protect myself. I'm protecting myself. You bit me. No. No, you fucking bit me, Chelsea. No. You gonna calm down? You gonna calm down? I'll give you a cigarette. I'll give it to you.
So you didn't have to do all that. You didn't have to fucking bite me and fucking attack me and shit. I don't ever do anything to you. So fucking love you. fucking cop at? Stupid ass shit. Hey. All I wanted was to talk. We didn't have to go through all that shit. You bit me. Yeah, you bit me. I was protecting myself. It's not the first time you've attacked me. I don't know why you keep crying. I was just protecting myself. My finger is fucked. We could have just talked. Yeah. That's fine if we're not together, but we was together whenever, before this started, before you bit me, and before, yeah, all this, the broken stuff you broke over here. You would have broke that window if I wouldn't have fucking held your legs down. You've done this to me before, and you're known for it.
I'm up here.
Nope.
I'm prepared for her.
Prepared for her. Broken glass every fucking word.
Put the other on.
What?
I put the other on.
Are you fucking serious? Get off my shit.
I did.
What? You pee on my clothes?
I up there.
See, this is the shit I'm going through. Shit I'm fucking going through. Peed on my fucking clothes. Real nice. Well, you're on camera. Keep playing the victim. Stop. I'm not.
I'll put them to the video.
I'm not holding you. I told you to stop yelling. No, you bit me. You bit me first. If you be quiet, I'll get my fucking keys to my truck and I'll leave. How about that? Will you be quiet? Quit yelling, waking everybody fucking up. Chelsea, it's because you've attacked me. I Not the first time. Oh my God. See?
I'll be down.
Go out the goddamn window. I don't give a fuck.
Help!
Go out the fucking window. Yo.
They're moving!
Huh?
They're moving!
Go ahead and call the cops.
They're moving!
I did that to you? Yeah.
Where's my phone?
I got it all on camera.
Where's my phone?
In there.